Back to that intro again. Well, we'll ask you, what was the last time that you read a book or a substantial magazine article or an article online? What do you read about and how has that shaped your life in general? Well, today we're going to look at the impact reading has or can have in one's life, as well as maximize on writing as a business. We're joined by Jemima Zola, a thought leader on mindset shift, an author, entrepreneur, and also the founder of Her Circle International, and Maxwell Gichuhi, who is a speaker and entrepreneur, also an avid reader and speed coach. Jemima, good morning.
Good morning, Simba. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here. Fine. Let's talk about reading now. What is reading to you? I think let's begin from there.
Reading is the of information from one medium to someone's comprehension. So it is simply, it's a form of language processing. Yeah. It's when you look at different symbols and you're able to get meaning from them. That is reading.
Pretty much. Maxwell, what is it? What is your understanding of reading?
Thank you, Simba. Let me use the analogy of a garden, right? I feel like, right? If you don't do anything, weeds will grow. But if you're meticulous, if you're intentional, when you get to read, you get to get seeds that can be planted and you can have a variety. You can have wiki on this side, you can have cauliflower on this side, you can have mango trees on this side. And most importantly, maybe let me use the words of Mark Twain. Good friends and good books, that is the ideal life.
Pretty much. Let me go back to Jemima this morning there. For Maxwell, we're going to be with you as well as an avid reader, and then we're going to talk about what that has done to your life as an entrepreneur as well. Jemima, let's therefore understand. If I say that I'm going to read and read by the essence of reading, what do I become?
So, sorry, Simba, you're a bit erratic. Your network is not very clear. Can you kindly repeat?
Yes. Let me try and work with it as much as possible. Somebody would ask you, Jemima, what is the essence of reading right now? Why would I say I want to keep on reading?
Okay. Yeah. So reading does a lot of good things to a human being. I think reading is at the center of our advancement as human beings. And one of the things that reading does to someone is mental stimulation. It actually makes you think deep about something. It improves someone's capacity to think, someone's capacity to process information, and to bring out results. Reading also is a form of stress reduction. When you read, you kind of find yourself relaxing. You are able to look at things more clearly, you're able to focus more on other pertinent issues about your life. Reading also gives you knowledge about things. We cannot get knowledge about things if we don't read. And as I said earlier, reading is not necessarily the things that we are used to. It could be looking at symbols and deriving meaning from them. So it gives you some sort of information. That's why we can see signs on the road. When you see it and you know there's a zebra crossing, so what does that mean? I need to slow down and allow people to pass. That's a form of reading. So reading gives you knowledge. Yeah. Reading also expands one's vocabulary.
Yes.
I remember a few years ago, I joined a book club, and having joined it, I was really able now to keep up with very good conversations with anybody because I read widely. Yeah. So I'm able to speak to whoever and I will still have a conversation going.
Yeah. Jemima, just before I let you go on that as well, and you joined a book club, and then you say, well, let's read, let's keep on reading. Somebody's going to ask you the question, if I really want to read, do I have to read in my area? Things that are pretty much related to what I surround myself with in terms of career and any other thing that I do for personal development. Is that it?
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to read from your area only. I think that will be a very streamlined way of looking at things.
Yes.
I believe that life is exponential. It's not on a straight line. Therefore, you will have done yourself disservice if you only focus on your area of expertise.
Yes.
You know, it's okay to do that because you have to keep improving yourself continuously, but it's also very important to look around you and read on other different things because life is exponential.
All right, Maxwell, let me come to you. Jemima is saying that life is exponential. You are an entrepreneur, you are a speaker, fine, and you're an avid reader. Would you tell me your readership journey, where do you start to feel the effects of your readership journey sort of have an effect in whatever it is that you're doing right now and your life in general?
Sorry, Simba, I'm losing you. Can you repeat the last sentence?
Yes, Maxwell, I'm going to ask it again for the benefit of everybody listening to you. When did you start to feel the benefits of your readership journey in everything that you're doing now?
Fantastic. I hope I got you correctly. Simba, my journey started when I was in class 4.
Yes.
That was the first time in our school we had what we call a prize giving day. So I happened to be amongst the top 3 and I got a gift. The gift was a Hardy Boys novel. I read that book, devoured it. I couldn't put it down. It was like a baby. I had it all over until I got done with it. And my parents picked on that desire. Then from that time, my dad started bringing books. And not just Hardy Boys novels. Sometimes the book bring books on poetry, other things that I never thought I could read on. And then I think that's where that seed was germinated. But looking at my journey back, that's a couple of decades. Looking at my journey back, today I'm a speaker because of this knowledge. Today I have interest in different fields because of from different books. For example, I remember one time running my business. So I started as most people would do as a sole proprietor. You're the marketer, you're the production guy, you're the messenger, you're the accountant. But as the business progressed, then we continued to add people to our company. But I still had this problem that I wanted to do everything. Then I came across this book by Brian Tracy on how to double your productivity. And one of the things he said, and that's because that's what I usually do, Simba. You can read a 300 book just to get one idea.
Yes.
One of the things Brian Tracy said is for you to double your productivity as a leader, you need to stop doing what someone else can do and concentrate on doing what only you can do. And that has become one of the pillars in business.
Pretty much.
So that's the beauty about reading.
Yes. I will come back to you, Maxwell. Let me go back to Jemima, therefore, and sort of shift a bit to exactly what she's doing in this area for authorship as well. I don't know, Jemima, if you can get me now, can we get to understand your authorship journey? What inspires you into writing? And should somebody want to go that direction, should you be a reader first before you say, well, I think now I've got the tools and motivation and the know-how to get into authorship? Is that what would be the perfect way to be where you are right now?
Yes, I believe so. Simba, you're very correct. It has to start from reading.
Yes.
Because you cannot stop churning out products that you are not a user for.
Yes.
So for me, I normally, since I was small, I remember I normally express myself better in writing. So for a long time, I used to know I am a good writer. I express myself better in writing. So even as a young girl, if I need to speak to my parents about something, I normally used to write it in my journal first. And then when we sit down, I tell them, I wrote this in my journal and I want us to discuss.
Yes.
So with time, that elicited in me a desire to research and seek knowledge and seek information. And the best way to do that was through reading, So as I said earlier, I joined a book club thereafter. in this book club, it was a challenge kind of club,
Yes.
whereby you're required to read a book per week and give a synopsis by the end of the week
Yes.
to the other team members. We kept each other on toes. It made me read widely on different topics all over, from different writers all over the world. And I remember by the end of the year, I had read 41 books out of a probable 52, you know. And that was an amazing experience for me. Thereafter, I decided, let me not be like the Dead Sea, whereby I'm just taking in so much. I've taken in so much within an entire year. Every week I have a book. Every day I have a book. You know, let me not be like the Dead Sea. So I take in and I'm not giving out.
Yes.
And that's when I decided I need to write. I now need the world to read these things that I'm writing. So thereafter, the following year, actually, I joined a certain boot camp. All this was me to being an author. So I joined a certain leadership boot camp, whereby one of the requirements was to publish a book by end of the year. I think that was the jack that I needed. So it was the real trigger for me on myself starting now to write and publishing books. So why do I write? What is my inspiration?
Yes.
I believe that the greatest transformation in a human being starts from the mind by information. Information is the food to the mind. Therefore, as a thought leader, said, I am a thought leader in mindset shift. So as a thought leader in mindset shift, I believe that I am mandated to churn out productive information to be consumed by others. The world is made up of various people. People need information on anything. People need information on how to take care of things, on careers, on just doing life, on how to manage stress, on how to live well. There's a lot of information that people need. Currently, the country, people need information on how to disseminate the BBI information or how to understand it. Yeah. So I believe that as a thought leader, I am required to do that. I also know that not everybody can access Google or can access books that are published abroad, you know. And therefore, I owe my people, there's an entire world out there that depends on me to teach them things. And that's why I do that. Another inspiration is Dr. Miles Monroe. I was privileged to be among the team that organized his visits to Kenya when he came. Before testing. I remember one of the biggest charge he gave us on his last trip was, die empty. Do not go to the books that you should have published. That was another jacking for me. I was like, I need to write these books. You know, I have so much to offer the world. I need to do it. And therefore I started blogging and doing a lot of writing all the time whenever I get a chance. So yeah, those are my inspirations to writing.
Pretty much. Let me cross over to Maxwell again this morning. Maxwell, you are an avid reader. Fine. But you don't know there's a bigger challenge for people to get to the level that you are. Getting a book, setting a target, and clearing that book within that target. How do you do it? What are your to-go places when you want to clear a book? What is this magic bullet you give to anybody who wants to read a book within a certain timeline and get done with it?
Fantastic, Simba. One of the things I do, because I'm also a coach.
Yes.
And must inculcate. One of the things I say is we have to be intentional with our time. Mm-hmm. Time is the most critical factor. So for example, let me share what I do. Every 1 hour in the morning is my power hour. So one of the things I do is to read a book between 30 minutes and 1 hour.
Yes.
Right? I have a target of at least 40 books a year. Sometimes I hit it, sometimes I surpass it. But what works for me is that being consistent. And usually I operate from the office. So when I get to the office, there's no distraction from the baby. It's early, there's no client calling you at that hour. And you have serene time to dive into your books and dive into the minds of these great authors like Jemima, Miles Monroe, Brian Tracy, and the rest, and to get those gems of ideas that will boost your day, that inspire you, that will make you seek visions and set goals high that you can achieve. So
Yes.
I would recommend to everyone, look for that time when you know your best. Take 30 minutes to 1 hour every day. And if you did Simba for a whole year and there is no difference, come back to Maxwell and get your money back.
Pretty much, Maxwell. I hope anybody is listening to you as well. Now, the last question I got for you this morning, Maxwell, before we go back to Jemima, is, well, is it possible to set a number of books that you're going to read within a week or within the year? Or do you start and go? What would you be your way in for any other person, for any other new person? And is it possible to start from the topics that you like, or just start? Yes, Maxwell, can you get me?
Oh, I can get you. I thought it was addressed to Jemima.
Oh, no.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely, Simba. In fact, I would like to encourage people to start from what they like.
Okay.
Probably this is a habit they don't have. So when you start with the biggest things, with the complicated things, you'll get bored. Look for those things that are interesting. Look for those books maybe you've never read before. Google the most read book. Start with a simple book like The Richest Man in Babylon, right? It's a fable, it's a story. Principles are weaved in that story. So it's interesting for anyone to follow. I remember one time I bought, and I was feeling down, and Jemima was saying, one of the things that book reading can do to you, it can be your sense of motivation. When you're feeling down, get a good book and a hot mug of chocolate, and you're good to go. And I remember I passed by Prestige. It was around close to midnight. I bought Born Identity, one of the Born Identity series. Let me tell you, Simba, I sat down and I had an early day. I had to sleep at 5 a.m. just to wake up 2 hours later, because that book was that captivating, that engaging. And I would request guys to look for those interesting books, start with them. If your target is, let's say, 40 books a year, that means 4 books every month. You can spread them such that you've got a book that is 300 pages, another one like Who Moved My Cheese? It's around maybe 20 pages, right? So that at the end of the month, you will feel you've achieved your target and get that motivation to continue. So you can spread them that way. One book that is a bit complicated, one book that is simple, another book that is simple, one that is a bit longer. That way, you get motivation to continue and proceed. And to the writer of Atomic Habits, in 3 years, you realize, oh my God, I've done 100 books. Yeah.
Pretty much. Let me cross over to Jemima this morning. Let's attach that level as well now to that reading. For somebody who wants to graduate to the level that you are, that you're not just reading, you're now approaching it as a business. Why do you start from, Jemima, and how do you sustain it?
Okay. So it's very important to turn whatever passion you have into profit.
Yes.
So one way by how you can do that is by publishing your books. Don't just write and keep the information to yourself, or maybe share in non-paying blogs. There are very many opportunities out there to sell whatever you write. So it's very important to do that deliberately. Seek to turn your passion into profit. So as much as I'm a writer, it will be unfair to only publish a hard copy that can only be accessed by people in my locality, in my geographical area. Therefore, it's very important to also upload it on different mediums. There is Amazon, make it Kindle friendly, let people buy it from all over the world, and then market your book. So one way of doing that is by branding yourself. It's very important to be branded. I really like Maxwell's background. Already you can tell who Maxwell is by just looking at the background.
Yes.
You almost know what he does. There are no many questions about it. My background might make someone think I'm an interior designer, Yeah. So it's very important to brand yourself and find your lane and stick to it. Yeah. So some of the opportunities available is that direct sales of books. So in whatever form, as hard copies, as soft copy on the different mediums available. Another one is someone who is a writer can get speaking engagements. There are very many people who want to hear information. So they might not read, but you can get speaking engagements. Maxwell could hook me up, Simba could invite me another time to discuss something else, yeah? And that is one way of just ensuring that you're out there with the people and you're passing on information to where the market is. Another way is you can set up a YouTube channel. This COVID season has taught us a lot, yeah? And the world suddenly became a very small village because of internet, because of the different social media platforms. So someone could set up a YouTube channel where you share about your books. You pick a topic from your book and just expound it to the world. Yeah, so those are some of the ways.
Pretty much. Jemima Maxwell, thank you very much for taking your time this morning to speak to us here at Metropole Television. Trust me, you have already spoken to somebody. All right, with that note, we take a short break here on Business, and once we come back, our economic review. Good morning.